Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to give you a brief tutorial of the Eclipse IDE. Now in the last video we wrote our code in a text editor, and then when it came to compile and running our program we jumped over to a command prompt. That's fine for simple things, but when we've got larger projects with more and more source code, it can become a bit tedious to work that way. So typically when we're writing programs we use an integrated development environment to make life easier for us. And in this video, we're going to have a look at Eclipse. So how do we program in Java using Eclipse? I'm going to show you how to create a new Java project, how we add classes to the project, and then finally, how we compile and run programs from within Eclipse. So let's open up Eclipse. Here it is. Now, the first time we run Eclipse, we get asked what workspace we'd like to use. This is where Eclipse will save all of our projects. Now, I'm just going to type in where I want mine to be. And this can be anywhere. It doesn't really matter. By default, I think it puts it in my documents folder. Now, I'm going to check this box, use it as the default, so we don't get prompted for this again. Hit OK, and Eclipse will finish loading up. And I'll move this into the screen. This is the welcome screen. We don't really care about the welcome screen for this video, so close that. And we get the real Eclipse user interface. So the first thing we need to do when we're doing any Java coding in Eclipse is to create a project. And there's a couple of ways that we can do that. You can either click on this button here and go New Project, or we can choose New Project from the File menu. And we're going to create a Java project. And we need to give the project a name. So I'm going to call this Welcome. Actually, I might even number this 01 Welcome. This is just for me to make things a bit more organized. The rest of the stuff in this dialog box we can usually leave as the default. So you'll notice that Eclipse is going to create a new directory within our workspace to store this project. And the rest we can leave as the default for now. So hit finish and we get our new project and our empty source folder. So like before, we need a class that's going to contain our code. And again, there's a few ways that we can do this in Java. We can either choose the new class button from the toolbar. We can go over here and go new class, or we can choose file, new class, and create our class. Again, we need to give our class a name. I'm going to call this welcome. And it gives us some options for some things. So this is auto code. So Eclipse is going to put some code in here for us that we don't have to worry about. So these are modifiers to the class itself, which we're not going to touch. The one we are going to look at, though, is we would like Eclipse to create us a main method. So if we press finish now, we get our new Java class here, and you can see that Eclipse has done all this code for us. So it's created our class signature and it's created a main method. So that's really great. Eclipse does a lot of code completion for us to reduce the amount of work that we actually need to do. So what we're going to do next is print some text out to the console. So system.out.print. You'll notice that as we're typing, Eclipse is doing this cool auto code completion for us. So this is really handy if we don't exactly know the name of a method that we're trying to find. In my case, it's probably going to be quicker than scrolling through with the arrows to just type it out. So print line, welcome to Java, exclamation mark. Oops. And again, we need a semicolon at the end of the statement. And array. Already we've written the same program as before, printing information out to the console. So we can save this and we're ready to go. So the next step, I guess, is how do we compile it? Well, one of the benefits of working with Eclipse is we don't actually have to do anything to compile our code. Eclipse is constantly recompiling things in the background. What that means is as soon as we've saved our code, it's already compiled. Now, just to point out something here, if we have a type error here, you'll notice that Eclipse underlines this part of the line in red. So Eclipse has already found out that there's an error on this line of code. And if we save it, it'll tell us what the actual error is down here in the problems pane. So I'm just going to put this back to how it was, hit save, and our error goes away. So think of this as like a spell checker, but for code. Really, really useful. So the next thing we need to do is actually run our program. And to do that, we're going to go fire the run menu and just go run as Java application. And Eclipse has an integrated console built in over here on the console tab. And you can see that we get welcome to Java printed out to the console. And that's it. That's the basics of coding in Java using Eclipse. So just to summarize, when we're coding in Eclipse, the first thing we need to do always is be working within a Java project. So we need to create a new project before we start coding. We add classes to the project using any number of the methods that I showed you, so either from the file menu or from the toolbar. And then compiling and running our program. Well, compiling is really easy. We don't actually have to do anything. Eclipse does it for us. It's constantly recompiling in the background and showing us any errors in our code as it goes. And running the program, we just go run as Java application. So that's it for this video. Thanks a lot.